Thousands of Argentines marched for jobs, food, and more social aid as rampant inflation undermines government efforts to raise living standards. Protests were held countrywide but centered on the capital Buenos Aires as the government announced the latest inflation figures, 6.7% for the month of March, more than even the most pessimistic projections. This brought the cumulative total for the first quarter to 16.1% and set the country on course for annual inflation of about 60% for the year, according to analysts. Year on year, the March figure came to 55.1%, one of the highest in the world. Demonstrators gathered on the historic Plaza de Mayo Square that houses the presidency with banners demanding real work and increased support for soup kitchens, among other assistance. The country's economy is rebooting with GDP growth of 10.3% in 2021 after 3 years of recession. Unemployment fell to 7% in the final quarter of 2021, the lowest rate in 6 years. But inflation continues to rise and the poverty rate is at 37%. Breaking inflation and the fiscal deficit were key conditions for the IMF agreeing to refinance a $45 billion loan. The government's job is being hampered by spiraling inflation worldwide, fueled by the war in Ukraine. The Index Statistics Institute said that food prices alone rose 7.2% in March. For education, the increase was more than 23%, for clothing and shoes 10.9%, and for housing, water, electricity and gas, 7.7%. For 2021, the rate was 50.9% and the government had targeted limiting inflation to no more than 48% in 2022. In February, the government boosted by 50% the aid given to about 2.4 million Argentines in food stamps, now about $50 per person per month. This week, it expanded price limits on some 1,700 consumer products and set up a fund to stabilize the domestic price of wheat flour. Last week, several thousand took to the streets and hundreds camped out on the capital's largest boulevard pressing the same demands.